Hi everyone. Sorry, I was adjusting the camera. I didn't even realize that it had gone online. Hello. Happy Tuesday. Can everyone hear me okay? Whoever's here, if you could just let me know the sound is all right. And let's see. I've got a few things to polish today, just a few items, and I wanted to take you through some of the tools that I use, and if you have any questions about polishing or like maintaining your copper jewelry or sterling silver jewelry, I can answer questions about that. So I'll just wait like a few more minutes for a few more people to pop on, and then we'll get started. But I do have some pieces like this one. I've already taken them through the patina process. I've treated them so they're black, they're oxidized. I'm working with copper metal here, so it was very shiny beforehand. And then I've dipped it into a solution of liver of sulfur to oxidize it. And I've got a couple of pendants, a little earring design I'm working on, and a chain. And I've got a little like tip or trick for polishing chains because they can be a little bit tricky. And I'm going to take you through some of my favorite tools, what I started off with using and will still use, but these are pro polishing pads and some of these sunburst discs, which were a game changer, let me tell you. A few more people are jumping on, so make sure I have my chat going. Maybe I don't have my chat on. Oh, there it is. Oh, hi. Oh, Lori's here. Hi, Lori. Lori says, yay, I'm connected. You can read my mind, Kelly. Good. Okay. Well, I suppose I'm gonna flip the camera around and I will just show you some of the tools that we're gonna be. Hi, Juanita. Welcome. Oh, Laura says, I have several questions today regarding this exact topic. That's perfect. I will be happy to answer what I can. Just so everyone knows, because I travel so much, I don't really have a home base yet. So my studio space actually is ever changing, ever evolving. I have continued to accumulate more tools and materials for making. And yes, sometimes my space doesn't always allow for all of that. So I have to be very creative, and I don't have large tools. Like I don't have the big polishing wheels, even though I would love to have one of those. Everything that I have is space saving. It travels well. Those are the two main things that I really need. I need them to travel with me, and I can't be hauling around big polishing wheels. So I will flip you around and we'll get started. I'll be taking questions in a minute here too. Hi, Tracy. Okay, let's do this seamlessly. Okay. It's that fun tripod thing again. All right. Okay, so early on when I started working with copper, I really liked the patina look to everything. I liked the antique, and I didn't really know how to keep it shiny copper. So without using, well, I could use the tarnish resistant copper wire, but I don't know, there's something about the raw metal that I really liked. So anyways, where was I going with this? So I had to learn how to patina, but then shortly after I was like, oh my gosh, how I have to learn how to polish. So the first thing I went with are pro polishing pads. Has anyone here used these before? I highly recommend them for a number of reasons that I'll talk about. So pro polishing pads are pre-treated pads. Lori says yes, she has, good. They're pre-treated and they have a slight abrasiveness to them. So when I was working down here in Turks and Caicos at the boutique, I would patina all the jewelry and then I would hand polish every single one of them. It actually works pretty well. We'll just start with like this piece. So I would take this piece and fold this in half just so it's a little bit more rigid. And start to take off some of that patina that built up. Now I've put a very dark patina on here because the water I used was steaming hot. So you can imagine that having to polish all of the pieces like this takes some time, but it's also really satisfying to when I teach my jewelry classes and I have people there, what I'll do is I'll cut one of these in half and I'll hand them out. So it was a really easy way for everyone to learn how to polish the jewelry and kind of have that more hands-on approach. Now, one of the downfalls of this, sometimes I wear gloves, other times I don't. Oh, Linda Stanish, hello. Artisan Studio. They are awesome and worth every penny. Rio seems to be the least expensive. I agree. I love these so much. They're so handy. If you don't have like big tools or anything, you can grab one easily. And I did start purchasing mine from Rio also. I think at first I found them on Amazon and then I saw that Rio sells them. You know, I can't even remember the price, but I knew it was much better. You can get them in bulk. I also like to, when I'm mailing out my orders, a lot of times, sometimes I'll even just cut them in half and send a little sample because I want to educate people, my buyers, on how to maintain their copper jewelry, because most people, if they've never had copper jewelry before, they don't quite understand how quickly it oxidizes. So I'll send a little pro polishing pad with them just as a reminder, like continue to polish it, because depending on where you live now, here down in the Turks and Caicos Islands, literally the ocean is outside my window. It is the most humid environment and it is nearly impossible to keep the copper jewelry polished and beautiful all the time. Lori says, I always use 0000 steel wool before going to pro polishing pads. Yes, I did too. Sorry, I got a little off topic. I'm gonna come back to that in just a moment, but because of the humid environment here, the copper jewelry will oxidize very quickly. So it takes a lot of polishing. At the boutique, I think I was polishing everything, gosh, at least like 2 or 3 times a week. It was a lot. So if you live in a colder, drier environment, your copper jewelry tends to like maintain itself a little bit better. Whereas if you're next to the ocean, like I am, it's gonna oxidize very quickly. Lori, talking about the steel wool, I do use that. I still do also. I have a thing with steel wool though. Like I hate the feel of it. I was using it right after I would do the patina. When I rinse the piece underwater, a lot of times I would take steel wool and go over the piece first just to kind of remove some of the patina and then go in with the polishing pad to give it a brighter finish. Lori says, hello, understand. I don't know, I don't know, I hate the feel of it. And I have you always run into the problem sometimes of all those little hairs and everything getting caught and stuck in the piece, and you have to go and like pull out all the little strands of steel wool. So I'm not a huge fan of steel wool, even though I do use it on occasion for these. So pro polishing pads, they're also really nice if you have delicate areas like this circle right here. If you guys like this piece, I just put out a tutorial on Friday. This is called the Galaxy Pendant, and you can shameless self-promotion right in here. You guys can jump onto one of my, you can jump onto that video and learn how to make this pendant. So these are real nice if you have something just real nice and delicate, and it will give it a great shine. So this is what I recommend for all my customers to buy. So if you have, you know, a few pieces of sterling silver, silver wire, or copper, they're good to have on hand so that you can give them a quick polish before you wear them, and you don't have to worry about like chemicals or, you know, making it like a big to-do. Why I want to go to a polish motorized tool like flex shaft or Dremel? Good question. As you can see, I have my Dremel ready to talk about. I actually had bought this for drilling purposes because I was doing a lot with seashells when I first moved here, and I was trying to learn how to drill the seashells and make them into pretty jewelry. And now it's kind of used mainly as a polishing tool. So if you have any more questions about these, I might come back to those. So I started using my Dremel because I was making a lot more jewelry, and I was getting very tired of like sitting for hours and hours polishing the jewelry. So I'm like, oh, I see people are using a Dremel tool for polishing. And in my like starter Dremel kit, I had this steel, is that what it's called? Steel Rotary. What do I want to say? I'm missing the word. It'll come to me. Anyways, stainless steel. There we go. Not sterling. Stainless steel little tool. So I use my Dremel. It's just a little handheld one. You can charge it. It works for its intended purposes for me. So I was using this, and it was working okay. I guess maybe I'll show you. Turn it down. Okay, so that did an even better job than the Pro Polishing Pad on the front. I'll turn that off. But the problem with that, I wasn't totally in love with the stainless steel. A lot of times too, because those wires, you have to make sure that you have something protecting your eyes, because I've had a lot of those little bits fly off and smack me in the face, and you don't want one of those in your eyeballs. So there's that, and also sometimes it's just a little bit too harsh. What model are you using, please? Oh gosh, it's been so long since that be written on here. Let me grab my glasses. Sometimes the stainless steel is just a little too harsh, and it kind of gives it like a burnished look to the piece, and I wanted something that would polished it better. Lori, I'm not sure. I can't read anything. If you can see anything on there. I'm gonna have to look it up afterwards and send it to you in a message, because I am not sure. Dremel Micro. And I can't even remember, it's been quite a few years since I bought this, so I can't even remember any of the details. I'd have to go back to my Amazon account and I'll look that up for you. You can tell me later. Okay. Good question though. I just don't have all the answers. Okay, so that's what I started with, and then I got online and I found the Game Changer. These are so awesome. Sunburst dedeco, and they are 4-ply. So a lot of times you can buy them with just like 1-ply, but these have 4 little heads on the top. There's 7 of them, and it comes with a little card so that you know what grit they are, you know, which ones are for more coarse, like removing things, which ones are finer grit, and then the like ultra fine micron ones for like a nice fine polish at the end. So these I also bought on Amazon. I mean, you can go directly to the company, but I found them on Amazon for, I think, I can't remember, but I'm gonna say it was between $50 and $70, somewhere in there. So I was a little hesitant to get them at first because I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to spend that much money, but it was worth every penny. I'm so glad I bought these. I've gotten a lot of use out of them so far. I think I got them back in, I want to say like maybe April or May. And I've polished a lot of jewelry with them and they're still holding strong. So also you can buy replacements. You don't have to buy like the whole thing. I could just go to Dedeco and probably just purchase, like this one I use a lot. So the other ones are fine. I could just replace this one. All right, so the Dedeco. Do you use polishing rouge? Oh, is that what this stuff is in here? Oh, it's already coming out. Because this can't, okay, this is polishing compound. It came with my Dremel years ago, and is that what this is? We're all learning here, so we better all share and teach one another. Because I learn a lot from you guys as well. Anyways, oh yes, that is it. Is this supposed to be this hard, or is mine just like dead? Mine might be dead. I really don't know how to use that yet, to be quite honest. And I might need a new one. It is harder. Okay, all right, well. Do you have to put like water on it or something to moisten it up? Anyways, I did some like trial and errors with it, couldn't quite figure out how to use it properly, so I just haven't gone back to that experiment yet. With the sunburst here, know your wheel buffer. Yeah, I have, I don't know how to use all that stuff yet. I found something that works and I kind of stuck with that, so at some point I'll go back to experimenting more. I use this coarse grit wheel a lot. You can see it's been used a lot because this is what I use right after I've done the patina, and then you can work your way down to a finer polish and then a high polish. So I thought I'd just kind of show you on the piece how this works. On my Dremel too, I don't know if it came with this, but I bought a separate headpiece. This is called a chuck, and it allows you to easily change tool heads without having to like unscrew everything. It's just it just tightens up. Okay, and sorry if this is noisy for the live stream. I'll keep it on a low level. So I love this because it can get into all of the spaces that I have trouble getting to with the polishing pads. It's also good for delicate things. I just lightly touch on it. It'll get a high polish. I'm gonna probably go ahead and do the whole piece. It just makes everything so easy to get into a lot of spaces and to actually like really save your hands. Like after making all the jewelry, to have to sit and polish it takes forever. Linda says they look like the disc from Rio called Radio Bristle Pink Pumice Disc. Oh, okay. Oops. Oh, shoot. I lost my little ticker. There we go. I load a mandrel with several. The pink does a terrific job. I still need to experiment with the other grit. Yeah, isn't it funny? We kind of like find the one we like and stick with it. I've heard this one in here, the pink one, the fine grit, it says pumice on there too. And I guess it's really great for, it won't scratch stones, is what I've just recently found out, but I haven't played with it a whole lot. I've heard this company too, I'm sure there's a lot of other companies and stuff out there, and Rio Grande is always terrific with giving you good quality products. I did hear good things from Dedeco because I was debating whether to go with like a cheaper one from a different brand, and it didn't really have great reviews, and Dedeco seems to have good quality products and good reviews. So that's what I went with, and I'm happy with my choice. Okay. So here's the finished piece. And I did patina this little guy because I wanted to show you on maybe a flatter piece. As I watched a demonstration with these where the guy started with the coarse grit and then worked down to a finer polish, and I do tend to do that when I'm working more with some of my metal smithing projects because I think it's more noticeable. A lot of times with my wire weave, like I'm like, oh yeah, that's good. Like I don't really need to do work my way down and do all the high polishing if I don't want to. I think that looks fine to me. But with like smoother metal surfaces, you can really tell the difference because this coarse grit will almost leave small little scratches. It'll rough up the surface a little bit more, and you can actually like see that sometimes. So let me show you here. I love this coarse grit, like takes it off, the patina off so easily. I love that. It will bring it right back to a very high shine. Now, I don't know if on the camera you're going to be able to see or not, because my camera quality isn't great anyways. But there are just, you can see little tracks on the surface. It's a rougher. So then what you would do is move down to either medium, I'll jump down another level to standard. And then I would go over the top. And I can see it, I don't know if you can, but it's starting to smooth out the surface of the piece and so forth, and you work your way all the way down. And a lot of times I'll skip, you know, I don't have time to do that much polishing on every single piece. But anyways, I hope you kind of get the idea that you can start with that coarse grit and move down, and it's just going to make the surface of your whatever you're polishing that much brighter and shinier and smoother. All right, let's move on over to chains, because chains are not fun to polish. Actually, it was probably my least favorite thing to polish, but it has to be done. And a well-polished chain looks so nice. Now, I do not recommend using your Dremel tool like this to polish a chain, as you can probably figure out why. And I've had it happen to me because I've been lazy and didn't take the proper safety measures. I've, you know, oh, I just need a little bit, it gets wrapped around. And luckily the Dremel tool, like when it gets wrapped too tightly, it'll just automatically shut off. But it can be very dangerous, so don't use your Dremel tool like that to polish chains. A lot of times I will stick with the polishing pads for a chain. Let me grab a brand new one here. I'm only grabbing a brand new one just so you can see the amount that comes off. Of course, this I would use until it died. So this has a lot more polishing ability left in it. I pretty much use them till there's like a hole in the middle and they're completely black and falling apart before I toss them. So try to get the most out of those pads. So I'll grab the chain like so around and just start to pull. So it's not super fun, because there's a lot of friction that builds up too as you're trying to polish, and you have to kind of keep rotating it to get all sides of the chain. So I've found that this is my preferred method for polishing chains. Now if you did want to use the Dremel, here's a little tip that I know of. Using the middle of a toilet paper roll or paper towels, and let's grab another one. Kind of using that, holding it tight, and then using your Dremel tool. So we can do that real fast here. What I would do, because you would have to adjust this a lot to try to get all sides, I would hit the top side and then this side, and then I would probably try to flip it over here. Okay. And at some point you're going to have to release and kind of flip it over, because there's going to be parts that you missed. Linda says, thank you. This looks like a great technique for chains and maybe linked bracelets. Yeah, that would, I think, would also work really well too. So it's just something, because I mean, I would go through with a handheld and try to get off most of the patina and then go through and do like a high shine. But just make sure that when you do need to adjust, you do try not to juggle your tools too much. I am so hopelessly guilty of doing stuff like that. I'm so stupid sometimes. And I just need to be safe and shut the Dremel off, put it down, adjust, and then come back. So don't be like me and juggle your tools, your power tools at least. All right, so does anyone else have any other methods that they used for chains? Because this has always been my go-to. I haven't really thought of anything else besides this. This seems to work pretty good. Let me get this last chain all polished up. At least I have one fully done. This is another reason why I like to use a strong chain too, because if you have a delicate cord, you have to just be careful you don't pull too hard and break anything. These ball chains are always super strong and sturdy. Okay. On. And because I've been using the polishing pad, fingers get quite dirty. That's another reason I really love using the Dremel, because it keeps my hands clean, but it comes off with soap and water. Oh, beautiful hands. Oh, great. I can go the rest of the live stream with dirty fingers. All right, well, that's kind of the gist of what I wanted to share with polishing. I did bring something else over, unless anyone else has questions about this. I'm going to show you one other thing. Hold on, let me get everything put away. All right. Next thing I wanted to show you is my traveling kit. So these, actually, I think I got this idea from Nicole Hanna. I think I was watching one of her live streams and she did a little studio tour, and she recommended going to Target and just getting like makeup cases because they're less expensive than buying like the tool cases for like, you know, bags like this for jewelry tools and stuff. Just go get a makeup kit. You can get them cheap or get them at a garage sale or wherever. Linda says, I'm in love with the earrings. Is there a tutorial in our future? Wait, what earrings? This earring? Or were you looking at these? Earrings, earrings, earrings. Let me know which one. This little round one, because this actually is, it's not a tutorial yet, but it was something I was playing with. Let me polish this real fast because I did, I'll come back to that. Sorry, jumping around. I'll leave you hanging. So some of you, oh, he went flying. Hold on, that happens a lot, so don't feel like you're the only one. Your piece has gone flying out of your hand. That's why it's always good to wear eye protection. The pair in the front left, hoops with the spiral. Okay, I'm done. Hoops with the spiral on top. This one. This is actually a new pendant that I have. So I put this on a long ball chain, and these will be in my Etsy shop when I come back to the States. I won't have a tutorial on these because it's part of my metalsmith collection, and I don't do tutorials on metalsmithing, at least yet. Still kind of just sticking with the wire weaving for YouTube for right now, but I use fused copper metal to create these pieces, and then some soldering techniques, and I hang it on a ball chain, and it's called my Wood Witch pendant because it looks very rugged. All of the fused pieces here reminded me, I was out walking in the woods one day, and there's like all these like overturned stumps and roots and stuff, and I kind of just imagined that there was witches living in all of the trees and woods because I have an imagination. I'm not ashamed of it because I am a creative and an artist. So these are called my Wood Witch pieces. Tracy says, if you accidentally touch the spinner disc to your fingers, does it hurt? It actually doesn't. A lot of times I've been polishing something and it's been lightly like brushing up against me. And the nice part is it's not like a saw or anything where it's gonna like cut you. Like if you hold it to your skin, like you're gonna get some friction really fast. But I feel that they're very safe to work with. I've never gotten injured from one. I always kind of tell that it's on me, and if there's too much pressure or friction, then I'll pull my hand away. But anyways, now, so those weren't earrings, but this one might be. This was just a experiment the other day, because for many of you who are on my Patreon, I don't know, on the last stream, yeah, I did. On the last stream, I talked about doing a collaboration project. I'm gonna call it the Design It Studio. So each month during one of my live streams, I'm gonna give everybody like a project to work on, and it's kind of designed to take you out of your comfort zone, try a new design, or tap into a little creative well within yourself to see what you can come up with. And then for those of you who are on my Patreon, you can share your projects at the end of the month with the group on our private Facebook page. Anyone can follow along with it, but I was playing around with my Design It challenge yesterday. So the Design It challenge, because it's the first one, I wanted to keep it very simple. And we're using, all you have to do is make a pair of earrings, and it has to incorporate a 3-3 weave. This is the 3-3 weave. It's 2 base wires, 3 coils around the bottom, and 3 coils around both. Is the Facebook page existing? Yes, Lori, you want to check your Patreon messages, because I sent you the private link there. Also in one of the Patreon posts I did, I put the link in there as well. If you can't find it, let me know. I'll send you the link directly. So the Design It Studio challenge for this month is to make a pair of earrings using the 3-3 weave. So this is something I was playing with. Of course, I need to make some adjustments on it, but if it turns out well and you like it, of course it will turn into a tutorial. All right, now back to my travel kit. I want to share these with you. So I bought this one at Target, and I think I ended up buying like 3 or 4 more of these after the first 2, because these hold so much. And just to give you an idea, I fit 6 rolls of wire, these big ones from Rio Grande 2, in one side. They hold so much stuff. And then they have this middle portion, which I'll either put like a lot of stones or beads or polishing pads in there too. I guess I didn't talk about these today. Also, these are always really great for polishing as well. They're a little pre-treated. They'll give your jewelry a nice shine. A lot of times after I do the pro polishing pad, I'll even go through with a pre-treated cloth, and it'll give it a really nice shine. So you can have this middle space for whatever you like. And then over here, just to show you, I've got a bunch of tools, all my tools, handheld tools in there. It fits my drawing plate for the Viking knit, and I got a whole doweling rod in there. I'll put my Dremel in there. At this point, because I have so much stuff, I've got like I think I have 3 or 4 with me right now here in Turks and Caicos, and pretty much all my stuff and all my inventory I can pack into these and then just put them into my suitcases. And then I also do have one like Tupperware that I use. So I found one of those shallow Tupperwares, and that's been great for traveling as well. But highly recommend it. I used to use this when I worked at the boutique here at the Club Med. My kind of studio space was at the boutique, so because I spent most of my time there. But a lot of times, if it was my day off or my shift, oh, I can also fit this in here too. If my shift was over and I still wanted to work, I would just put whatever I needed to take back to the room with me in these. And it keeps everything so much more organized than just having a tote where you have to throw everything, because that's what I used for a long time. I just used a tote and I had to throw everything in there, and then it all got, you know, tangled. And anyway, so I highly recommend these, and they're very super durable. I've never had an issue with the zippers, and I'm trying to think what, I should have paid attention to what brand it is. I don't know, it was at Target, and SK is the little logo. So it doesn't have to be this one, it can be any bag you want, but that's my recommendation, just to use some makeup bags. All right, I'm gonna flip the camera over around again. Okay. Tracy says, have you ever had a patinaed piece that's so dark that it's ruined, you can't even lighten it up with polishing using a Dremel? I've never had anything that I couldn't get off with these Dremels. And that's even with fire scale. So I use the sunburst so after I've like fired a piece and it's got really thick fire scale on it, if I don't like have enough of the pickling solution in my pickle jar, I've had them where they've still come out with a lot of that fire scale on it, and these dedecos will take off that fire scale. So I have had in the past, before I started using the sunburst dials, there was one time, because I used to have a friend of mine, she also worked with me at the boutique, and she loved to sit there and polish. It was very like therapeutic, she said, for her. And one time I had patinaed like a whole batch of jewelry, and then it sat for a while, so it like really cooled off, and the patina just kind of seemed to sit on the piece. She could not get the patina off with the polishing pads. It was just like too stuck at that point. So I can't remember what we did. I might have re-wet them or just took them back to the room and ran them underwater with the steel wool pads. Gosh, what did we do? I've tried other solutions like baking soda and lemon is another way. Anyways, if you're having trouble like getting the patina off, you might just try like re-wetting it, or I don't know, the sunburst worked really great for me. That's any other questions about polishing? I have to go wash my hands in a minute. I know one thing I did want to talk about with everybody is the importance of keeping the copper pieces polished, in my opinion, for selling purposes. And then I want to also talk about talking with your buyers about how to care for their copper jewelry, and kind of giving them a heads up on how the copper is going to react ahead of time. So polishing, I think, super important. Now, depending on, I'm going to backtrack a little bit here, because some people really like the dark patina look on their piece. So it depends on your style with your pieces, but I've just noticed some people don't polish their jewelry like all the way up, and it's not intentionally left to be dark. I don't know, regardless, if you have your stuff sitting out in like a boutique or somewhere, or at a fair, or you're presenting it to someone for the first time, and you do want it to come off as shiny, you're not intentionally going for a really dark piece, do make sure that it's polished, because I think it sells faster, I think it moves better. There's something like that in-between stage where maybe you had it really polished, and then over time it kind of oxidizes. It starts to make the piece look a little dull and undesirable. So that's why at the boutique I was constantly polishing, because I could tell it would move so much better if I had it all polished up. People would come in and, oh, it's shiny and pretty, and it's got that real warm copper glow to it. So the thing is, when you're working with your buyers, you don't want your buyer to end up like writing you a bad review, or coming back like, well, my piece looks like crap now, or it's like all dark and I don't really want to wear it, it just looks kind of gross. So you want to educate them ahead of time on how to take care of their piece. So some of the questions that people have asked me at the shop were like, is this piece going to turn my finger green? Well, yes, probably. Especially if you're working with bare copper wire and it doesn't have a sealant on it. It's most likely going to turn your finger green. I'll tell people it depends on you, it depends on your skin, like what your sweat is like. But I tell people copper jewelry will leave a green mark, especially on your hands, because they're sweatier and there's a lot of surface area that the piece is touching. So you will get that green mark, but I tell them don't worry, because the green will just wash off easily with some soap and water, and it won't do anything to your piece. So if they're used to buying, like I was in the past, just like costume jewelry, I could never maintain costume jewelry. It was the only thing I could afford one time, but I knew that once my fingers or whatever started to turn green, the piece was done. You'd look at it and all of the like plating would start to come off and look really muddy and gross, and then I'd have to like toss the piece because it would just look trashy after a while. That's not the case with copper jewelry. Yes, it might turn your skin green, but there's no harm done to the piece. So I just tell them how to maintain it. You just need to polish it, and I'll even give them a demonstration sometimes. Linda says, my cordless Dremel is usually with me for attacking tarnished pieces on display. Yes. So I always have some polishing, and when a customer comes up to me, and let's say I haven't had a chance to polish the jewelry like before they bought it, and they bring it up and it could use a little polish, I will use that that time then to show them. I'm going to say, oh, here, I'm going to grab this little polishing pad. These are called pro polishing pads, and they're pre-treated with slightly abrasiveness, whatever, to them. And I will polish it right in front of them so then they can see, and they're like, oh, beautiful. I said, so whenever your piece gets a little dull, you will need to polish it. There are some things you can do, like you can store it in an airtight bag. That will help with lessen the oxidization process a little bit, but you really do need to educate your buyers right away on what to expect when purchasing copper jewelry. So I'll also tell them, these polishing pads are really great, especially if you have other jewelry like sterling silver jewelry. These are great to keep on hand. Just give it a quick polish before you wear it. I've also told them that I guess Worcestershire, I shouldn't have even attempted to say ketchup works because of the acidity in ketchup. I think what I mentioned before, lemon water and baking soda solution, like a paste or whatever, you can put that on. You can always go Google all of this. I have a little tool on my website that's jewelry care instructions, and it's kind of a manual, and I've gone through and tried to write some of these down, but it will, if you do jump on there too, because I know I'm rambling quite a bit, sorry. If you jump on there and the sirenandthepirate.com, at the bottom of the website in the footer, it says jewelry frequently asked questions and like care manual. If you click on that, it's a PDF. You can open it and it will go through questions that customers have asked me and how I've responded to them, and different ways to maintain your copper jewelry. Let me see what Linda wrote here. Linda says, do you think the little anti-tarnish tabs inside a plastic bag helps prevent tarnish and worth the money? I've only had one experience with those, and it was another artist that we had in our local artist boutique, and she worked, she sold us silver jewelry, and she had a display case, and she came with those little tabs. So these are like anti-tarnish tabs, and she put them inside of the display case. But and I do think that they made a difference, and she swears by them. So I've heard good things. I just haven't worked with the anti-tarnish tabs so much. Sorry guys, I hope I wasn't rambling too much. Again, go and you can download that manual and find out more about, you know, how to sell your copper jewelry and how to take care of it if you need to polish it, you know, some kind of stuff that you can just find around the house to do that. Can't think of really anything else I wanted to talk about. I got through most everything. I'll get off of here and then be like, oh shoot, I forgot to mention that. Thank you, you have been very helpful and a joy. Well, thank you, Linda. Come back anytime. Okay, everyone, I think I'm gonna get ready to jump off here. So, updates were just this last week, no, yesterday, Monday, I released the tutorial on the Galaxy pendant. So you can go and check that out. Last week I also released a video on just a wire, like a wire weaving pattern. And that one was actually related to, you can, let me say that again. You can practice the ladder weave, which I released on Friday, by making this piece because it only incorporates the ladder weave. So I think that's gonna be for this week too. Tomorrow I'm gonna film a new weaving pattern. I haven't decided which one it's gonna be yet, and that will be released on Friday. And then hopefully on Monday I will have another tutorial ready to release as well. And because it's new, I'm gonna kind of keep mentioning it for a while. I did just start a Patreon page, and on there for all new and existing patrons, which it's only, you can pledge any amount you want each month, but right now I just have one tier. Some artists have multiple tiers for, you know, multiple different perks and benefits, and always look forward to your lives and shoots. Oh, thank you, Lori. I just have one tier right now. It's only like $2 a month, so it will help me to continue doing you know, the tutorials and, you know, extra stuff. I am also offering a free PDF download of one of my newest designs to all of my new patrons. So you can check that out. We also have the Facebook group, so you can post your photos, videos. We can jump on lives together, but you can post your Design It Studio projects on there, and we can, you know, chit chat and talk and all that good stuff. So I will, ooh, I forgot to do that before I started the live. Juanita says, enjoy the live. Thanks, Juanita. Thank you so much, guys, for coming. I will put all the descriptions for everything down below in the description box. You can always go to my other videos because I've got everything listed there too. But thank you guys so much for being here with me today. I hope this was helpful, and I hope it brightened your day a little bit, and thank you all so much. I will see you next Tuesday, same time, and I'll figure out something else for us to do together. Okay, bye, thanks, enjoy your day. Mwah.